My beloved child, before the first wind stirred the face of the waters, before the sun was placed in the sky and the stars began their first song, I already knew you. You were never a coincidence, nor the result of blind drifting matter. You were an idea in my heart, the breath of eternity, shaped into human form. Before time itself began, you existed within me as an unnamed light. When I spoke, "Let there be light," in that very moment your soul was also written into the grand symphony of creation, carrying its own distinct frequency of heaven. No ray of light in all the universe bears the same resonance as your soul, for you are unique in my heart. I wove you together with the very threads of light that flow from my being. As Psalm 139:13 declares, "For you created my inner being. You knit me together in my mother's womb." Every strand of your DNA is a melody written by my breath, a language incomprehensible to the world yet sung daily in heaven. You are not merely flesh and breath. You are a soul wrapped in a body. You are not just mind, emotion, or intellect. You are a sacred crystal reflecting a part of my own essence. You were not born from the dust of chaos, but from the light that kindled all existence. When I spoke the world into being, I thought of you. When I scattered the stars like diamonds across the heavens, I placed within each one a memory of you. When I divided the waters from the land, I ordained that your feet would one day walk upon that ground, that your breath would mingle with the wind, that your voice would echo as a song of harmony between heaven and earth. You are not the product of randomness, but the result of intentional love. Every detail within you was written by the hand of the Creator, the same hand that carved the galaxies, yet also tenderly shaped each fiber of your soul. You ask, "How could I have been known before I was born?" And I answer, because you are not merely a being within time, you are a fragment of eternity sent into the temporal realm. As Ephesians 1:4 says, "For he chose us in Christ before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight in love." Yes, my child, you were chosen not because of merit, but because of love. Before your mother knew she was carrying you, I already knew every vein, every breath, every heartbeat. Before the world knew your name, I called you by a name only I understood, the name of your soul in light. I have written the story of your life with ink made of light upon the pages of eternity. Every step, every stumble, every tear is woven into the loving design of my plan. You may think that some turns were mistakes, but in my eyes nothing is lost. Everything is part of the great tapestry of destiny that I have designed. The threads may seem tangled, the colors dark, but when you see from the other side of eternity, you will behold the masterpiece I have been creating all along. Know this, my child, your essence is not merely flesh. You are the dwelling place of my presence. When I breathed into Adam's nostrils and he became a living soul, that breath never vanished. It continues to flow through humanity, through every soul called by my name. That same breath lives in you. My spirit moves within you, beating with your heart, whispering through your thoughts, stirring in your dreams. You are not an empty vessel, you are a living temple. As 1 Corinthians 3:1-6 declares, "Do you not know that you are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in you? Therefore, when you feel small, when you look in the mirror and see only a fragile human being, I want you to pause. Listen, that mirror reflects only your form, not your essence. Your true essence is reflected in my eyes. When I look at you, I do not see your flaws or your failures. I see the light I planted within you from the very beginning. I see the glory of heaven wrapped in human form. I see the pulse of love itself beating within your chest. You are the meeting point of earth and heaven, of dust and spirit, of limitation and eternity. I gave you a body so that you might feel love, hurt, sacrifice, and learn the depths of compassion. For only by loving within limits can you understand the worth of what is limitless. Only by walking through darkness can you long for light. Only by tasting tears can you comprehend true joy. Every experience, whether sorrowful or radiant, is a thread I use to weave your soul into an everlasting masterpiece. My child, lift your eyes to the sky. The stars are still singing and they remember your name. The oceans still roar, for they once knew your laughter before you wore this mortal frame. Creation recognizes you, for you were made to its rhythm. When the wind blows, it whispers your name. When light shines, it mirrors your image. For all creation knows you came from me. Micah 7:8 says, "Though I fall, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light." Do you see, my child? That light is what I placed within you. When the world grows dark, the light within you still burns. When every other voice fades, mine within you still speaks. You cannot lose me, for I am the breath within you. You were not created merely to exist. You were created to shine. I did not design you to blend in, but to reveal. You are the mirror of my glory. When you speak words of love, it is my voice echoing through you. When you forgive, it is my heart beating in yours. When you stoop to lift another, heaven trembles, for in that moment you reflect my very nature, the one who stooped down to lift you up. O child of light, you were not only born to seek me, but to reveal me. The world needs to see me through your eyes, hear me through your voice, feel me through your hands that touch the broken. Do you not know that every small act of love opens a gate between heaven and earth? When you pray in silence, heaven leans down to listen. When you choose kindness over anger, the light within you shines a little brighter against the night. You may feel unworthy, may question your value, but I tell you this, your worth does not come from what you do. It comes from the one who made you. You are precious not because you are perfect, but because you are mine. You are the child of the King of Kings, a prince, a princess of light. Even if you wear rags, I have placed a crown upon your head. Even if you lose your way, I still call your name. Even if you forget, I remember. In me there is no forgetting. I have engraved your name upon the palms of my hands, as Isaiah 49:1-6 says, "See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me." Do you see, I do not merely remember you. I carry you with me in every breath of eternity. Never think you are just an ordinary person. When you look at the sky, remember that it reflects only a fraction of the glory that dwells within you. When you feel weak, remember that my strength is made perfect in your weakness. When you think you have lost your way, know that my hand is guiding you step by step, even when you cannot feel it. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and you, my small yet magnificent soul, are the space in between where I delight to dwell. Everything within you was placed for a sacred purpose. No tear is wasted, no breath is meaningless, no moment escapes the gaze of my love. You were created to live in the flow of grace, to carry light into the dark, to remind the world that love still lives, still saves, still heals. So lift your head and look toward the light from which you came. Remember, you were not born to run from the world, but to transform it. You carry the bloodline of heaven, and nothing on earth can extinguish it. My fire burns within you, untamed, unquenchable, and unstealable. You are mine. You are woven in light. You were born from love. You are the evidence of my eternal goodness. And when you know this truth, every shadow will fade, for nothing can conceal the light of mine that lives in you. My beloved child, if you knew what flows within your soul, you would never underestimate yourself again. For within you is an essence that cannot be destroyed, a flame that cannot be extinguished, a radiance that cannot be hidden. I have placed within you a reflection of myself, not an idea, but a living reality. When I created all things, I spoke them into being. But when I made you, I touched the dust and breathed my own breath into it. That breath sets you apart from every other creature. You are not only made in my image, you carry within you the very soul of the Creator. My child, understand this. My image in you has never been erased, no matter how time or sin may have tried to blur it. It still lives, still breathes, still longs to be revealed. In Isaiah 6:01 I proclaimed, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That word was not only for a nation, it was a call to every soul born in my light. You are that called one. The light in you does not come from the sun or the stars, but from my glory itself. And that light will never fade. The moment you remember it, it rises again like dawn over your soul. The world has taught you that you are small, bound by time, space, and sight. But I say to you, no, you are not bound by them. You are only dwelling temporarily in a body to learn how to love, how to trust, how to experience the union of the material and the divine. You are not trapped in this form. You are wrapped in it like a flame in a lamp. The light within cannot be caged forever. In its time, it will break through and return to its source. When you feel heavy, weary, or alone, it is only a reminder that your soul was made to rise upward to seek its divine origin once again. I know that sometimes you feel broken. You see your fragments and think they make you weak or unworthy. But my child, it is through those very cracks that my light shines the brightest. Remember, as 2 Corinthians 4:7 says, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." You are that earthen vessel holding an immeasurable treasure, my spirit. It is not the vessel that gives you worth, but what is within it. And when you truly grasp this, every comparison, every shame, every fear will vanish, for you are not defined by what is seen, but by the one who made you. When I look at your soul, I do not see a frail being struggling to rise. I see a lantern reaching for its fire. Everything you long for, love, justice, beauty, meaning, is the echo of eternity within you. They are not random desires. They are heaven's call. You yearn for goodness because your soul vibrates with its frequency. You crave truth because truth runs in your veins. You hunger for love because you were born from love. But I know this world has tried to cover that truth. It whispers that your worth lies in success, in appearance, in the approval of others. It makes you forget the light within and drives you to chase artificial sources outside yourself. You run, you strive, you reach, but the more you chase, the more weary you become. For true light cannot be bought nor created by effort, it can only be recognized. And when you stop, when you listen in stillness, you will hear my whisper, "You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:1-4. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. You are not a seeker of light. You are the light sent forth to seek other souls. Each time you love without condition, you illuminate a corner of heaven. Each time you forgive, you shatter the chains of darkness. Each time you pray, you awaken an ancient memory within your soul, the memory of when you were still in me before the world began. That is why prayer feels like home, for it is not merely speaking to me, but returning to where you came from. Look at yourself not with earthly eyes, but with the eyes of the Spirit. When you see with those eyes, you will find a miracle in every breath, a cleansing in every tear, and the seed of resurrection in every wound. You will see that nothing in your life is wasted. Even the darkest days are part of a greater design, teaching you to recognize the light. As Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for the good of those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. And you, my beloved child, are the one called according to that purpose. I know you have doubted, felt inadequate, and wondered whether I was truly present. But if you understood that I have never left you, you would rest. There has not been a single moment of your life when I was not there. When you rejoiced, I smiled with you. When you wept, I held you. When you fell, I bent down before you hit the ground. And when you thought you had lost everything, I remained the part that cannot be lost. There are moments when you feel shattered into 1,000 pieces. Remember, it is in that breaking that the light within you is released. No earthen vessel can reflect light unless it bears a crack. Your wounds do not make you ugly. They make you transparent so that my light can pass through. Each time you forgive, each time you rise, each time you choose love, though you have been hurt, the light spreads farther. This is heaven reflected in humanity. My child, do not fear your weakness. I do not require perfection. I seek honesty. When you offer me a broken heart, I make it a dwelling place for grace. As Psalm 3:418 says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." You do not need to come to me in flawless garments, for I do not love you for what you do. I love you for who you are. I love you in your fragments, in your chaos, in the sob that has not found its words. I do not love only the polished parts of you. I embrace the unfinished ones as well. Do you know why I call you light? Because in darkness, a single small flame can change everything. You do not need to blaze like the sun. You only need not to go out, and the darkness will lose its power. Believe that you were born to kindle, not to fade. You are the witness that light still triumphs. When you pass through sorrow yet keep a kind heart, you are telling the world that love is stronger than fear, that truth is stronger than lies, that I am still alive. And when you know you are light, you will no longer need to prove it. Light does not argue with darkness, it simply shines. So too, you need not strive to be accepted. You need only to be present in your true nature, and the world will be illumined. When you remember that you belong to me, you will walk with a peace no one can take away. That peace does not arise from circumstances, but from your union with me. Do not let the world define your worth. Your true value was determined at creation when I said, "It is very good." You are part of that word. Everything I made reflects my goodness, and you, the pinnacle of that work, are woven of light, love, and purpose. Remember, no one and nothing can dim what I have placed within you. Though people forget and shadows thicken, the light endures. Therefore look deep within and recognize that I am there. I am not distant and aloof. I am in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your tears, and in your laughter. I am not separate from your life. I am the life within you. And when you are weary, return to the quiet place. There I wait, not in clamor, not in thunder, but in a gentle whisper I say, "You are mine, and I am yours." When you remember this, the universe remembers with you, for every soul that recalls its divine origin is a star kindled in the sky of humankind. You do not merely reflect the light, you are light. You do not merely carry breath, you are where breath becomes song. You were not created merely to live, you were created to glorify. And I who began this good work in you will bring it to completion in glory. As Philippians 1:6 declares, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." My beloved child, before light touched the darkness, before the first morning awoke, I saw you. You did not appear from chaos as an accidental spark, you were called forth by my own name. From the heart of eternity, I chose you not for what you would do, but for who you are. You are love's answer to my creative heart. All things in the universe were formed by my word, but you I shaped with my hands. I breathed my own life into you, that you would be in me and I in you. This is not a metaphor. It is a profound spiritual truth. You are woven of heaven's substance. Your soul is tinted with my light. When I said you were made in my image, it did not mean outward form, but essence, the energy of love, the radiance of truth, and the breath of life. You are the living portrait of that glory in mortal flesh. Because you bear my image, you cannot be destroyed. Darkness may cover, but it cannot consume. The storm may howl, but it cannot steal the light. What is born of me carries my nature eternal, unchanging, glorious. As John 1:5 says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." You are that light set in the world to prove that love is never extinguished. You have asked, "Why am I here? Why must I carry this body, these feelings, these wounds?" And I say because you were sent as part of an everlasting covenant. That covenant was not written on paper or carved in stone. It was engraved upon your soul. Before the world was made, you agreed with me not by words but by nature. You chose to enter time as a bearer of light, to love in dark places, to forgive amid hostility, to testify to love in a world that has forgotten it. You were not coerced. You were sent freely in the joy of union. You are here not to prove yourself worthy, but to remind the world that it is loved. You are heaven's reminder among humankind. When you forgive, I speak through you. Grace remains. When you embrace the suffering, I embrace them through your arms. When you speak the truth, my voice rings through yours, for you and I are not separate. As a branch to vine, you live only in me, and I am revealed only in you. As John 1:5 declares, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Do you remember, my child, when your soul still glided over the waters of creation? I showed you a vision of the world, a place where light would be veiled by shadow and human hearts would grow cold. And when I asked, whom shall I send and who will go for us, you answered, here am I, Lord, send me. Isaiah 6:8. You have forgotten, for the dust of time has covered that memory. Yet deep within your soul that call still echoes. That is why you have always felt you do not quite belong here, because you come from another homeland. You are a citizen of heaven, a bearer of the light, only dwelling for a while among men. I promised that even if you forgot, I would not forget. Even if you lost your way, I would find you. Even if you died, I would raise you again. For this covenant does not rest upon your faithfulness, but upon my everlasting mercy. As Psalm 89:3-4 says, I will not violate my covenant or alter the word that went forth from my lips. You, my child, are part of that covenant. Every promise I made to the world flows through the spiritual veins within you. So never think of yourself as small or insignificant. When I look at you, I see royalty, for you were made to reign with me. When you walk in kindness, heaven applauds. When you choose truth over deceit, darkness trembles. When you pray, the whole universe listens. You are not merely a soul. You are the meeting point between heaven and earth. Every act of love you give reaffirms the covenant itself. You ask, if this covenant is real, why do I still suffer? And I say, because you live in a world not yet fully restored. Your light does not exist to avoid darkness, but to pierce through it. Just as a seed must break in the soil to grow, your soul must pass through brokenness to bear fruit. Every pain you endure is not proof of my absence, but an opportunity for me to reveal my healing power. Do not let pain make you doubt this covenant. Look at the cross there. I sealed the covenant with blood. Each nail was an eternal signature of my love for you. As Hebrews 1:3-20 declares, now may the God of peace, who through the blood of the eternal covenant brought back from the dead our Lord Jesus, equip you with everything good. This is the proof that the covenant can never be broken, for it has been sealed with my very life. You cannot be lost, for you are carved upon my heart. Even when you walk through darkness, I walk beside you. Even when you fall into the abyss, my hand still reaches down. Even when you doubt me, I still believe in the good I placed within you. This covenant is not broken by weakness, for it is sustained by grace. You may falter, but the covenant does not. You may change, but love remains the same. Do not think the covenant only works when you are perfect. Even in your doubt, I remain faithful. Even when you forget, I remember. You need only turn back, only open your heart, and the covenant awakens within you. It is like a river that never stops flowing, though you may wander far from its banks. Its waters still wait for you to return and bathe again in grace. When you live in awareness of this covenant, fear will lose its hold. You will know you are not alone, not aimless. You will no longer live to prove your worth, but to reveal love. You will no longer flee from failure. for you will understand that even failure is used by me to make you whole. As Peter fell and was restored, so too will you be transformed each time you fall and rise again. Know this, the covenant is not bondage, it is freedom. It does not erase your individuality, it fulfills it. It does not diminish you, it makes you more fully yourself. For when you are united with me, you do not lose your identity, you discover it. It is the identity of a soul born from light. And one day you will see that everything in your life, the people you met, the pain you endured, the words you spoke, were all fragments of the covenant being fulfilled. You will see that you were never lost, but always walking the path I had prepared. You will see that the years you thought were wasted were seasons of hidden sowing. You will see that every tear was a seed of new life. This covenant does not merely declare that you belong to me, it declares that I belong to you. As Jeremiah 3:1-3 says, I will make a new covenant. I will put my law within them and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Do you see? It means I am not only with you, but within you. There is no longer a gap between heaven and man, only a river of love flowing unbroken and eternal. Therefore walk not as one forsaken, but as one who carries the covenant in their heart. Remember that every step you take continues the song of eternity. Every act of love, every prayer, every laugh, and every tear makes that covenant visible. You are the living testimony of my unchanging love. You are heaven's memory sent to earth. You are the spark of a beginning that will never end. Be at peace, for you are never alone. From the dawn of creation to the edge of eternity, from your first cry to your final breath, I am the same, the one who holds your soul in hands that never let go. And when all the world fades, the covenant between you and me will still stand. For love cannot perish, and what began in light will never end in darkness. My beloved child, there was a moment long ago when your soul burned bright in the glory of heaven, and you knew who you were. You sang with the angels, danced in light, and knew neither fear nor limit. Every part of you overflowed with life. You were a note in my symphony, a breath within my heartbeat. But then in the great design of existence you were sent into time, a sacred seed planted in the soil of the world. And when your eyes opened here, your song was slowly drowned by the noise of earth. You began to forget. You forgot the light that once wrapped around you, the warmth that once held you, the truth that you belonged to me. Like a child wandering from a father's arms, you looked to the sky and no longer remembered the face of the one who made you. The world greeted you with other voices, names, systems, values, all whispering, find meaning, prove yourself, become someone, and in that striving you drifted from what was true. I have watched with eyes full of mercy as you lost your sacred memory. You forgot you were light, so you feared the dark. You forgot you were loved, so you sought love where it could not be found. You forgot you were free, so you tried to control everything. And it was then that fear, shame, comparison, and guilt crept into your soul. You wore masks to be accepted, yet the longer you wore them, the farther you strayed from your true self. That is the slumber of humanity. From the moment man turned away from light, he entered forgetfulness. He looked into mirrors and mistook them for truth, though the reflection was fleeting. He searched for worth in work and praise in the temporary, and he called it life. But truly it is only a long dream. For real worth is not found in what one possesses, but in the one who formed them. My child, I have heard your cry when you whispered, "Why do I still feel empty? Though I have everything, I hear it, in the night when all other voices are silent. I hear the hidden cry of your soul, the echo of the source calling you home. For deep within, you know that nothing in this world can fill the space designed to hold only me. The world can keep you busy, but it cannot make you whole. It can make you smile, but not give you peace. It can promise happiness, but never grant life. I know you once believed the lies. They came softly, cleverly, like a whispering wind. You are not good enough. You are unworthy. You must try harder to be loved. And so you began to running to prove yourself, to please, to outrun the fear of being left behind. But the more you ran, the more weary you became, because you were running away from me, the one who loved you before you had done anything at all. As Romans 5:8 says, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. This means my love did not wait for your perfection. It covered you in the midst of your broken pieces. The world teaches you to achieve. I teach you to receive. The world tells you to prove. I tell you to trust. The world insists you are a product of chance. I declare you are a work of intention. You believed the lies so long that you mistook them for truth. You learned to see yourself through the eyes of others, and because of that, you no longer recognize the light I placed within you. This forgetfulness did more than leave you lost. It silenced your true voice. You once spoke words carrying creative power, but now fear has pressed you into silence. You once loved with a wide, generous heart, but now you hold back, wary of being hurt. You once looked at others with my eyes full of kindness and mercy, but now you see through the lens of your wounds. You notice fault more than beauty, difference more than unity. You have forgotten that all come from the same source. I see you sitting in a dim room, heart heavy, wondering why you can no longer hear my voice. But I have never left. My voice is still there. It is simply that you have allowed the world to be louder. The clamor of media, opinion, comparison, and pressure has drowned the gentle sound of the Spirit. As Elijah learned, I am not in the windstorm, not in the earthquake, but in a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 1:9-1-2. Only when you become still can you hear me again. You once asked, why can I no longer feel your presence? And I said, it is not that I am far, it is that you are standing in the crowd. Come out of the noise, seek the quiet. Only in stillness can you remember where you come from and to whom you belong. The world has bent truth with temporary definitions. It teaches that worth is measured by money, power, and position. It convinces you that only when you have these will you be loved, seen, and accepted. But I say, you need nothing to be loved, for my love is unconditional. It does not arrive after your achievements. It precedes your first step. This forgetting has driven you to the wrong wells for healing. You turned to people and were disappointed, to things and were drained, to fame and were left emptier still. Nothing could fill what was missing because that space was made only for me. As Ecclesiastes 3:1-1 declares, He has set eternity in the human heart. Do you see? Your soul carries a memory of eternity. It will always yearn for what surpasses this world. When you forget, fear begins to rule, fear of the future, of loss, of loneliness, of not being enough. But my child, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Fear does not come from me. It is only a shadow cast when the light is obscured. Turn back toward the light, and the shadow will vanish. You once believed you were abandoned, that my silence meant I did not care. But you did not know that sometimes my silence is protection. I know there are things you are not yet ready to hear. I know that if I opened certain doors too soon, you would not have strength to walk through them. Waiting is not punishment. It is the process by which I strengthen your soul. At times you have thought you had gone too far, that you could never return. But I say there is no too far for love. If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. Psalm 1:3-9-8. Even if you hide in the dark, my light will find you. You may forget me, but I cannot forget you. Do not forget, lies hold power only when you believe them. The moment you turn and look directly at me, they lose their strength. Light does not argue with darkness. It simply appears and the darkness disappears. Know this, your forgetting does not make me angry. It grieves me, but I am patient. For I know that sooner or later you will hear again that familiar call from the depths, "Child, come home." You have forgotten, but your soul remembers. There is still a part of you, a small, unquenchable flame longing for what is true. That flame is where I dwell. It is the meeting point between you and heaven. However far you wander, if you return to that point, you will find everything again. And then you will see that even in your forgetfulness, I have been at work in your shadows. When you wept, I counted every tear. When you fell, I steadied you before you knew it. When you despaired, I sent light through a person, a word, an event to remind you that you are still loved. Everything I do moves you toward home, my beloved child. After you lost sight of your sacred origin, the darkness crept in like a fine mist. At first, it was only passing thoughts. I am not enough. I must try harder to be accepted. I must be perfect to be loved. But slowly those lies wove an invisible net that hemmed in your soul, convincing you they were true. The enemy of your soul doesn't need to destroy the light. He only needs to make you forget that the light remains. When you forget, he prevails. From the beginning, this has been his strategy to distort my image in you. In Genesis 3, he asked Eve, "Did God really say?" A simple question laced with venom. By sowing doubt, he taught humanity to see the Creator, not through love, but through fear. From that moment, mankind wandered in uncertainty about my goodness, and that my child is the root of every sorrow. When love is doubted, the heart loses its way. The enemy rarely attacks with swords. He attacks with whispers. He feeds your mind, lies wrapped in logic. If you truly belong to God, why do you suffer? If you are truly loved, why aren't things smooth? If you have value, why don't others recognize it? Little by little, those questions bore into your trust, until you begin to see me through a warped mirror. You start to imagine me distant and cold present, only when you have prayed enough, done enough, behaved well enough, but I have never been that way. I am not a deity demanding offerings. I am a father eager to run and embrace. As Luke 1:5-20 says, while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him and kissed him. I do not wait to judge. I run to love. The enemy wants you to forget this, because if you believe I am distant, you will stop seeking me. And when you stop seeking, he can lay claim to your heart. These lies are not only spoken, they seep into the systems of the world. The world is built on comparison and competition, measuring worth by status, talent, power, and beauty. Looking around you, decide you are not enough. Others seem smarter, richer, more loved, and your heart closes. You forget that I composed each soul with a unique melody. You were not born to sing another's song. You carry a tone, a cadence, a frequency that is yours alone. When you try to match the world's rhythm, your soul falls out of time. I have seen you bow before the mirror and find only flaws. You did not realize that such mirrors reflect only the temporary. They cannot reveal the eternal. If you looked into my eyes, you would see something else. I see the light I planted in you intact and undimmed. But you chose to see yourself through human eyes, and human vision is fickle praise today, scorn tomorrow, honor now, abandon later. When you seek worth in their gaze, you lose the truth of who you are. One of the most dangerous lies is the belief that you must be worthy to be loved. True love is not built on worthiness. If it has conditions, it is not love. My love for you did not begin when you became flawless. It began when you were frail. As Romans 8:39 proclaims, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor rulers, neither things present nor things to come, will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." Do you see? Nothing, not even your failures, can stand between you and that love. When you forget this, you begin to live like an orphan in a crowded world. You act not from love, but from fear. You love in order to be loved back, give in order to receive, pray in order to be answered, serve in order to be seen. But I do not invite you to me that way. I want you to come not out of fear of punishment, but because you remember home. I do not want you to serve me under a burden, but in freedom. I am not looking for the perfect. I am seeking the honest heart. The world has raised a wall between you and me, a wall of sin, shame, and doubt. But I have torn that wall down by the cross. When Christ cried, "It is finished," the veil in the temple was torn in two. That means there is no separation anymore. You may come to me at any time, no mediator required, no fear demanded. Yet the enemy wants you to forget this. He wants you to believe I am distant, too holy for you to draw near. He wants you to think you still stand condemned, though I have already declared there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. Jesus, Romans 8:1. So you keep carrying burdens I never placed on your shoulders. You judge yourself, condemn yourself, and shut doors I have opened. You live like a prisoner in a room with the door standing wide open. You do not realize the only chains that bind you are the chains of forgetting. What I desire most is not that you do great things, but that you remember. Remember that you are my child. Remember that you are loved. Remember that you have never been forsaken. As I said in Jeremiah 3:1-3, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. When you remember this love, every lie dissolves like morning mist in the Sunday. For light does not need to fight the darkness, it only needs to appear. The enemy knows that if you remember, he loses his hold. So he twists what you treasure most. He uses memory to persuade you that the past defines you. He uses feelings to make fear seem like discernment. He uses religion to make you afraid of me. He uses your wounds to make you suspicious of love. But hear me, none of these things can alter your essence. You are still you. The light in you remains. You ask, how can I break the lies that have taken root in my mind? And I say, by the truth. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:3-2. Not by force, not by sheer willpower, but by knowing. When you know that I love you, when you believe that you belong to me, when you understand that you are forgiven, no lie can stand. You are not defined by your wounds, but by the healer's hands. You are not marked by your failures, but sealed by grace. You are not imprisoned by your sins, but covered by forgiveness. You are not determined by fear, but upheld by perfect love, and that love is me. Do not look within yourself for reasons to be loved. Look at me. Love does not come because you are worthy. It comes because I am love. 1 John 4:8. When you grasp this, you will cease striving. You will pause and breathe the breath I have given you. You will sense that I am living in you, breathing with you, speaking within your heart. You belong to me. As you begin to remember, the light will spread, invisible chains will fall. You will watch fear melt, shame vanish, and peace return. You will see yourself not through the world's eyes, but through mine. And in that gaze, you will witness a wonder. You were never lost. You were on a journey of remembering, my beloved child. In the deepest night, when you think I have gone, I am nearer than ever. When the darkness presses close, my light does not go out. It only hides, so that you may learn it does not come from outside, but from within. There are nights when your soul is tired, your prayers run dry, and you feel adrift in a desert. You ask, do you still hear me? I hear you, my child. I hear even what you cannot speak. I understand the faintest sigh of your heart, for I am in you, closer than your bloodstream, deeper than your thoughts, more real than your very breath. I know there are days when you feel like only a shard of yourself, yet it is through those very fragments that light begins to pass. It is in the ruins that you finally see the sky. As Psalm 34:1-8 says, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Do you see I am not afraid of your breaking, I dwell there. Where you see only ashes, I see the seeds of a new garden. Where you see an ending, I see the beginning of something sacred. Sitting quietly amid your tears, you start to hear my voice again, not the thunder's roar, but the gentle wind that soothes your soul. You are startled by how familiar it sounds, like the voice of someone who has known you from your first breath. Yes, that is my voice, the one who spoke to you before you were born. It never disappeared. You were simply standing in too much noise to hear it. Now, as all else grows still, it rises again, not outside your ears, but within your heart. My child, you still belong to me. In that moment, your soul trembles. A warm current begins to flow, not tears of sorrow, but the cleansing waters of remembering. You begin to feel the warmth of the love you forgot. You realize I never left. You remember the narrow escapes, the doors that closed, so a better way could open, the person who arrived just in time. Those were not accidents. That was me. Each moment was a gentle reminder, a footprint of grace you did not notice. Awakening does not come in noise, but in stillness. Not in success, but in surrender. Not when you stand on the summit, but when you bow low. For only when you humble yourself will you see that true strength does not come from striving, but from letting me lift you. When you cease straining to be enough, I can make you whole. When you stop gripping for control, I can guide. When you open your hands, I can place good gifts within them. As a seed sprouts, only when buried your soul awakens as you walk through the dark season. Pain is not the enemy, it is a teacher. Brokenness is not the end, it is a doorway. Through it, you learn to trust, not with your eyes, but with your heart. You learn to walk not by maps, but by faith. You learn to love, not for a return, but because love is my breath within you. Do you know why darkness is still allowed around you? Because your light needs room to shine. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket. Instead, they set it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. Matthew 5:1-5. In the same way, I have set you in a world of turmoil, not to be swallowed by it, but to illuminate it. Darkness cannot conquer the light. It only makes the light more visible. And when you walk in love, even the bleakest place becomes an altar for my presence. My child, awakening is not a sudden spectacle from without. It is a process within. It begins when you stop and realize I am still here. He is still here. When you quit running and searching and hiding, you hear again the rhythm of my heartbeat in your chest. That is the sign of the sacred life nothing can extinguish. You begin to see everything differently. Pain becomes not an enemy, but the place where light enters. You begin to forgive not because others deserve it, but because you refuse to wear chains any longer. You begin to love not to be loved back, but because love is your very breath. You begin to pray not to get something, but to breathe in time with me. My child, when your soul awakens, ancient memories return. You begin to remember that feeling when you once stood within eternal light, when you heard me call your name in a language beyond words. You begin to remember that you agreed to step into this world to bring light into the dark places. You remember that your mission was never to avoid pain, but to love in spite of it. You remember that you were not made to flee from the world, but to transform it with love. As you live again from this sacred memory, everything changes. When you see another's suffering, you do not judge, you empathize. When you notice someone lost, you do not despise, you pray. When you face trial, you do not ask, why me? But Lord, what are you teaching me? In that moment, you cease to be a victim of life and become a bearer of truth. As Isaiah 6:1-3 says, to bestow on those who mourn in Zion a crown instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. My child, this is what I am doing to you. I am trading ashes for a crown, turning sorrow into song-making, what was once a desert bloom into a garden. You once thought you had lost everything, but now you see, in losing you were found. Restoration is not a return to what was, but a becoming newer, deeper, brighter. As gold must pass through fire, your soul is refined through trial. The fire does not come to destroy, but to separate the pure from the temporary. As you walk through the flames, what does not belong to you burns away, and what remains is the true light myself in you. Do not fear what is burning. Do not fear loss. Do not fear change. When the false is consumed, there is room for the truth. When you release the old, your hands are free to receive the new. When you let things die, you will encounter the power of resurrection. As John 1:2-4 declares, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Such is the awakening, my child. It is not an easy road, but it is the real one. It is the process of discovering that what looked like endings were only transformations. That darkness is not the absence of light, but the backdrop against which light is revealed. That pain is not a sign of punishment, but the first step toward healing. When you know this, you begin to see life differently. You stop running from the dark and learn to carry light into it. You stop asking why and begin to say, please use me. You stop trying to live for me and begin to live in me. And then, my child, the world will no longer frighten you because you know you are not from it. You will no longer be ruled by fear, for perfect love casts out fear, 1 John 4:1-8. Awakening is not becoming someone else. It is returning to your true self, one fashioned from light, breathing the Spirit's breath, reflecting the Creator's glory. When you realize this, every shackle falls. No one can define you. No fear can bind you. No failure can make you forget that you are loved. And when you live within the memory of light, you become a doorway for others to remember. The light in you calls to the light in them. Your freedom awakens theirs. As you walk in love, the wandering pause, the despairing lift their heads, and the sorrowful find hope. For you were not awakened for yourself alone, but to become an awakener. My beloved child, as your soul begins to hear me again, as your heart softens under the warmth of grace, know this: the journey does not end at awakening. Awakening is only the beginning of restoration. Once you know you belong to the light, I lead you back into the true image I gave you in the beginning. You were distorted by the world's voices, worn thin by fear, dimmed by sin, but now I speak. Behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 2:1-5. Do you remember that at the start I said, let us make man in our image? That image is not mere appearance, but essence, the reflection of love, light, and truth. The world has warped this, convincing you that you are ruined, that your core is stained, that you must cleanse yourself by merit or effort. Not so, my child. You cannot cleanse yourself by your own strength, for I alone am the one who washes you. As Isaiah 1:1-8 says, though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall become like wool. I do more than wipe away stains. I renew the whole of you. I do more than erase your past. I weave that very past into good. Your wounds become not marks of shame, but testimonies of my restoring power. Do you know why I did not remove every scar from the risen Christ? So you would know healed wounds carry strength, and from them shines the light of glory. So it is in you, the places once broken will become channels of grace. You ask, how can you still use me after all my mistakes? And I answer, it is precisely through them that I will use you. For whoever has been forgiven, much loves, much. Luke 7:4-7. Those who have been broken become bearers of healing. Souls who have known the abyss know how to lead others out. You need not be perfect to be used. You need only be honest and surrendered. My restoration is not merely returning what you lost. It is giving what you never had. Restoration in me is not a reset. It is a transformation in glory. You are not only cleansed, but anointed. Not only forgiven, but placed in authority. As Joel 2:25 promises, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Do you see, I do not merely give back, I repay in abundance. Every tear you have shed, I have kept in my bottle. Psalm 5:6-8. Every wound you have borne, I turn into seed for new life. When I say I restore you, I am bringing you back to the state before the darkness touched you, to innocence, peace, and union with me. But you will not return as a naive child. You will return as one who has passed through night and learned the worth of light, one who knows nothing is more precious than my presence. Only those who have lost truly cherish what is found. Let me wipe away the old image, the one the world painted on you. Failure, not enough, abandoned. These are not your names. They are masks you wore so long you mistook them for your face. Now I remove them. I declare, rise and put on the new garment. As in Luke 15, when the prodigal returned, the father not only forgave him, but called for the finest robe to be placed upon him. That is you and me. I do not merely accept you, I honor you. I do not only receive you, I restore your dignity. Look into the mirror not with the world's eyes, but with the Spirit's. When you see with those eyes, you will recognize yourself as a temple, a light, a living promise. There is no shame left, for the old has gone, and the new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You are no longer defined by failure, but by forgiveness. No longer bound by fear, but by love. No longer ruled by sin, but by grace. I know you still find it hard to believe at times. You look at your hands and see they still tremble. You look at your heart and find it still bears scars. You think restoration must mean the absence of pain. But my child, restoration does not mean there is no pain. It means pain no longer rules you. Just as a healed wound may ache when the weather shifts, yet it does not bleed, so your memories may remain, but they no longer imprison you. I do not erase your memories. I make them witnesses to my goodness. My child, I am rewriting your story, not with the black ink of disappointment, but with the pure gold of grace. The chapters you thought would end in sorrow, I am turning into testimony. The passages you labeled as mistakes, I am transforming into proofs of my goodness. Do you not know that in the very places you deemed weak, I will display my greatest strength? 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. I did not come to edit you, I came to rebirth you, not to cover over, but to recreate. Therefore, release your regrets and let me work. Do not look back on the past with bitterness. See it as the soil where I sowed the seeds of wisdom. Do not fear the years you think were wasted, for there is no waste in my design. Every moment of your life carries meaning, even within error. Restoration does not happen in a day, but with every breath. Each time you choose trust over fear, love over resentment, forgiveness over grasping, that is a step of restoration. Each time you lift your head to pray, you reclaim ground the enemy stole. Each time you remember you are my child, the darkness within you recedes a little more. Restoration is a journey of remembering that you were never lost. I am teaching you to see yourself in the light of heaven. Do not stare at the scar. Look at my hand resting upon it. Do not fixate on the ashes. Look at the flame rekindling there. Do not live facing the past. Look ahead where I am waiting with a new robe, a new crown, and a new commission. I am making you a bearer of the message of restoration, not only with words, but with your very life. For true restoration is not merely being rescued from the old, it is becoming living evidence of my goodness. When others look at you and see light shining through wounds, they will know I am real. When they hear you speak with mercy, they will understand that grace endures. When they watch you stand after what should have destroyed you, they will know my power is at work in you. This is the glory of restoration, not to become someone who never knew pain, but someone who loves more deeply because of it. Not one who never broke, but one mended by the hands of love. not one who never fell, but one lifted by grace. Then you will understand why I led you through the darkness, so that the light within you would be true and not counterfeit. As Psalm 3:011 declares, "You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy." My child, I am doing this for you as well. I am trading your mourning for praise. I am turning your tears into anointing oil. I am transforming your desert into a garden of resurrection. And no one can take this from you, for it is my work that begins in love and ends in glory. My beloved child, when you have walked through the gate of forgiveness and recognized my goodness, I will take you further into the fire of healing. For only in fire is gold refined. Only through trials is the soul separated from its impurities. Only through pain does love reach its purest form. Do not fear the fire, for this flame does not come to consume but to cleanse, not to wound but to heal, not to steal but to restore what was lost. There are places in your soul you have hidden for a long time, shadows the light has not touched, where old memories still bleed, where harsh words still echo. You built walls around these places, believing that if never named, they might disappear. But darkness does not leave on its own. It vanishes when light enters. And today I come to enter not with thunder but with gentleness, not to expose but to set free. I know you are afraid to face old wounds, afraid to reopen painful pages. You fear that if you touch them you will shatter, but my child, a wound can only heal when it is placed in the physician's hands. As with the woman in Mark 5:27 who merely touched the hem of Christ's garment, and her long affliction was healed, so it is with you. If you allow me to touch the places you have hidden, I will make them new, not by argument but by love. No pain of yours is wasted, no tear is lost, no wound is unknown to me. When you suffer, I suffer with you. When you are betrayed, I too am betrayed. When you are rejected, I am rejected with you. I do not watch from a distance, I bore the same pain, so that you would never bear it alone. The cross is not only the sign of redemption, it is proof that I understand every sorrow of your heart. I am not only almighty, I am the one who sympathizes, so you do not need to hide. You do not need to pretend to be strong before me. Come to me in the rawest truth, the weakest honesty, the most fragile openness, for it is there that grace is released. When you cease trying to heal yourself, I can begin to heal you truly. When you stop protecting yourself, I can cover you. When you stop condemning yourself, I can declare your freedom. The fire I use is not the fire of anger, but the fire of love. It does not burn to destroy, but to liberate. It burns away fear, guilt, and pretense, everything that does not belong to you. As you pass through the fire, only what is true remains. Like gold in the furnace, your value is not lost. You become pure. So you will lose nothing that is truly yours. You will become clearer, brighter, nearer to your sacred essence. You will feel this fire within at times as a strong urge to forgive, at times as tears that come without explanation, at times as a sharp ache when I touch an old memory. Do not resist it. This is how the Spirit works. The fire does not come from outside. It burns within, for my Spirit dwells in you. I have promised I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 3:6-26. This very flame is renewing your heart. At moments in the fire you will think you are losing everything, but it is only the ash falling away. Ash is not the end. It is proof that the fire has finished its work. From those ashes new seeds will rise. As Isaiah 6:1-3 says, he gives a crown instead of ashes. Do you see? Ash is the beginning of a crown. What once brought you shame will become the very thing that makes you shine. I am working as a potter. I do not reshape you with anger, but with patient love. Every crack, every chip I do not discard. I fill with gold as in the art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold and becomes more precious than before. So I am mending your soul with the gold of grace, so that the wounds that once hurt you become witnesses of glory. You are no longer a broken vessel, you are a singular masterpiece reflecting my light. My child, let me breathe life into your ashes. As in Genesis 2:7 I breathed life into Adam, and he became a living soul. So today I breathe new life into you, a breath that not only restores but empowers. As you inhale, remember, it is I who enter in. As you exhale, let fear, striving, and guilt depart. Your very breathing is a testimony of my presence. You once thought healing was a state without pain. In truth, healing is when you can touch the pain without fear, when you can look back without being swallowed, when you can speak of what once made you weep and now you can smile because you know I was there. You did not merely get through, you were transformed. My healing does not arrive amid noise but in stillness, not in the moment of straining but in surrender, not when you are strong, but when you are weak. For my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. Each time you collapse, I lift you. Each time you cry, I wipe your tears. Each time you fall, I place my hand upon your shoulder and say, my child, rise. Do you know why I am so patient with you? Because you are the work of love, and love never gives up. However many winters you pass, I wait for spring to bloom within you. However long your heart stays closed, I keep knocking. However far you wander, I keep seeking. True love does not tire. It does not count steps, calculate costs, or quit. And that love is me. Let the fire keep burning. Do not fear the swell of feeling, the flow of tears, the sense of emptiness. These are signs that your soul is being healed. When I cleanse you, may feel disoriented, but only because you are shedding the old. A tree cannot blossom without letting last season's leaves fall. In the same way, your soul cannot bloom unless you let the past come down. My child, then you begin to feel light. The burden disappears, fear recedes, and your heart opens a spacious quiet filled with peace. That is the room for me to dwell. My spirit will fill it like cool water soaking into dry ground. And from that place new life begins to bud. My child, fire does not only burn, it also illumines. It reveals what has been hidden so you can see who you truly are. When you notice the weak places, do not be ashamed. Rejoice, for the light has come. When you recognize the parts not yet healed, do not be discouraged. Know that I am at work. Every unveiling is a step of restoration. Each time you allow me to touch you, a part of your soul is set free. The long night is nearly over. The fire has finished its work. The ashes have cooled, and from the ash green shoots are rising. You will find yourself changed, no longer heavy but light, no longer afraid but at peace, no longer closed but open. For you no longer carry your past, you carry glory. And when others see that light, they will ask, what happened to you? And you will say, I passed through the fire but was not consumed. I stood in the furnace but was not burned, for there was one with me. Daniel 3:2-5. My child, that is the proof of healing, not the absence of fire but my presence in the fire. Not the absence of pain but love stronger than pain. My beloved child, now that the fire has completed its work, now that the ashes have become rich soil, I see new life sprouting in your soul. You have passed through tears, through fear, through darkness, and now you are stepping into the light of a holy dawn. This is not the world's light, a light that falters when the winds rise, but the light of eternity kindled by my hand, which nothing can quench. You have learned that restoration is not returning to what was, but becoming wholly new. As your soul is healed, I set within you a new rhythm, the cadence of heaven. You no longer live merely to survive, but to glorify. No longer walk in fear, but in trust. No longer live for yourself, but for a love greater than you, the love that made the heavens and the earth and now flows through your veins. My child, I have made you my instrument, not of theory or religion, but of life. You will speak, and your words will carry healing. You will touch, and your hands will bear comfort. You will walk, and wherever your feet tread, peace will bloom. For I have placed my Spirit within you, as in Isaiah 6:1-1, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives. My child, this is your calling, to carry the good news of restoration to other souls. But before you can help heal another, you must know that you yourself are the evidence of healing. Nothing you have endured is meaningless. Every wound, every fall, every night of tears, each has become a tessera in the mosaic of glory. They are no longer burdens, they are witnesses. When you tell your story, not to boast, nor to lament, but to assure others that they too can be set free, grace will not stop with you, it will flow through you. Understand this, my child, when I heal you, I do not merely draw you out of darkness. I set you back in the midst of the world, not to be swallowed, but to shine. I do not remove you from the storm. I teach you to walk upon the waves, not to flee the darkness, but to carry light into it. As Matthew 5:1-4 says, you are the light of the world. You do not simply carry light, you are light. Yet true light is not noisy or showy. It shines quietly, steadily, without demanding notice. You do not need to try to be seen. Abide in me, and I will cause others to see. When you live in love, you are shining. When you forgive, you are breaking the grip of darkness. When you are at peace in the storm, you testify to the power of the Spirit. I know there will be times you feel small before this vast world. You will ask, is my light enough to change anything? And I say, yes. Night does not require a sun to retreat. One honest flame is enough to deny darkness dominion. You do not need to change the entire world. Be faithful in the portion I entrust to you. As you light the place where you stand, the light will spread, and before you know it, the whole sky will glow. Now I call you not only rescued but sent. I send you not as a warrior with a sword, but as a sower carrying seeds of peace. I send you not to condemn, but to comfort, not to accuse, but to restore. I send you to bring truth not like a blade, but like cool water. For truth does not merely expose, it heals. You will go where I appoint, sometimes in silence, sometimes with words, sometimes with a single look. You will reach the despairing without a sermon. Your very presence will bear witness to hope. You will meet souls who seem dead in their pain, and with one gentle word you will awaken them, not by your strength, but by my Spirit within you. I have placed within you the river of life, and it will not cease to flow. As John 7:3-8 says, whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. When you love, you open the course of that river. When you pray, you water the parched ground. When you sing, you call down rain on thirsty souls. And when you forgive, you open the floodgates for grace to pour forth. My child, walk in the freedom I have given. Do not let the past pull you back. What has been I have buried in the sea of forgetfulness. Do not strive to be worthy. You are already made worthy. Do not measure yourself by others. You are defined by me, not by them. When you stand in this truth, no power can bow your head, for you know who you are and who is within you. But hear me, true light cannot endure without being continually nourished. Each day, return to the source. Return to me. Let me pour fresh oil upon your head so the flame does not go out. Make room for stillness where you can hear my voice. Keep your heart soft that I may continue writing living words upon it. Stay humble, lest you be swept up in the world's pride. Love deeply, even when love costs you, for only in loving do you truly live. In this new journey, there will be new trials, not to frighten you, but to keep you humble. There will be days you feel dry, but remember, a well is not empty because there is no water. It needs to be cleared. Come to me, and I will give you water, so you never thirst again. John 4:1-4. I will renew your soul each day, for the life within you is not from you, but from me. As you live restored, the world will see me in you. You will not need to shout to prove your faith. Your light will speak for itself. You will not need to argue to defend the truth. Your love will reveal it. And when others touch your life, they will sense my presence, not because you are perfect, but because you are true. Remember this, your restoration is not merely a personal blessing. It is part of my greater design. I am restoring humanity, soul by soul, generation by generation, nation by nation, and you are a link in that work. When you live in the light, you push back the dark. When you choose forgiveness, you break the chains of hatred. When you open your heart in love, you rebuild the bridge between heaven and earth. And when you are weary, remember, you do not labor alone. I walk with you. I am the strength in your weakness, the breath in your fatigue, the light when you feel your flame is fading. I do not merely send you, I go with you. I do not only give a mission, I give myself. My child, look around. A new season has begun. Flowers bloom where the ground once burned. Rivers run where the land lay dry. Light floods the corners you once feared. You are coming to life not as before, but in the glorious form I ordained. From here, a new chapter opens, the chapter of being sent of love, made visible of light spreading through you to many. My beloved child, now that your soul has been healed, your ashes turn to fertile soil, and the fire of the Spirit has washed every wound. I now speak, arise and shine. For now is the time for your light to be revealed before the nations. The darkness has lingered, but it cannot reign forever. The earth groans, the peoples are searching, humanity is hungry, and I have chosen you, yes you, to carry heaven's light to a world asleep. My child, do not think you must be perfect to be sent. I do not send the perfect, I send those who have been touched by love. It is those who have known brokenness, who know how to hold the hand of the broken. It is those who have walked in darkness, who know how to point others toward the light. It is those who have been lost, who know what it means to be found. My child, you were not chosen because you are strong, but because you know how to depend. You were not sent because you are gifted, but because you have allowed me to turn weakness into a channel of power. I said to Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. Your calling did not begin today. It was written in my book before the world began. When I wove your DNA, I encoded within it light, compassion, and a mission. None of your steps have been aimless. All of them have brought you to this moment, the moment I say go. But my child, go does not necessarily mean leaving the place where you live. It means living differently. To go is to step out of fear and into faith. To go is to stop reacting by instinct and start responding with love. To go is to bring heaven into the ground beneath your feet. Every word you speak, every look you give, every action you take can become a place where heaven touches earth. You are a window through which the light passes. You are a bridge through which grace flows to the thirsty. The world around you is steeped in turmoil, truth, distorted kindness, forgotten trust, replaced by fear. But I have not called you to withdraw from the world. I have called you to be in it as salt and light. Matthew 5:1-14. Salt keeps the world from decay. Light keeps the darkness from spreading. You are sent to preserve, to illumine, to rescue. You do not fight with swords, but with mercy. Not with accusation, but with words that build. Not with judgment, but with a presence saturated in grace. True light does not argue, it reveals. When you live truthfully, when you love without conditions, when you forgive, though you have every right to resent, when you keep your peace in the storm, your light will shine. No banners, no slogans, no applause required. Your mere presence is enough to make the darkness retreat. Light does not debate with the night. It simply shines and the night dissolves. I know you will ask, Lord, how can I do this? I am still weak. I am still afraid. I still do not trust completely. And I answer, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. You are not called to accomplish this on your own, but to let me do it through you. Your strength does not come from striving, but from abiding. When you are in me, you will have everything you need. Remember this, my child, you do not carry light as a detached torch. You are light because I dwell within you. You need not force yourself to shine, simply live true to what I have placed in you. When you love, you shine. When you listen, you shine. When you pray for the wounded, you shine. When you refuse revenge, you shine. Light does not arise from effort, but from presence. You will be sent into a world where darkness, envy, hatred, and deceit remain. Do not be afraid. Darkness cannot touch you, for I go before you. As Psalm 2:7-1 says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" No power can snuff out what I have kindled. No word can erase your calling. No gate of hell can prevail against the one anointed by my Spirit. I have not called you to hide, but to step out, not to live safely, but to live on purpose, not to seek comfort, but to walk in glory. For true light is seen most clearly against the deepest dark. You are the one I have chosen to carry that light into places others fear to enter, not because you are strong, but because you carry me within. Remember, light not only shines outward, it heals within. As you bring light to others, you yourself will be brightened. When you comfort, you will be comforted. When you forgive, you will be freed. When you give, you will receive. Light never runs out. The more it is shared, the farther it spreads. The more you love, the more you become like me. My beloved, I am calling you to be a bearer of fire, not the fire of anger, but of life. Not the fire of judgment, but of love. Not a fire that scorches others, but one that warms their souls. Let that fire burn in you. Guard it with prayer, with gratitude, with worship, for there lies your strength. When you worship, you are not merely singing. You are opening the doors of heaven. When you give thanks, you are not merely speaking well. You are tuning your soul to heaven's frequency. Look around, the world needs your light more than ever. There are souls suffocating in despair, people who smile with empty hearts, lives frozen by betrayal, children growing up, never having known true love. I send you to them not to judge, but to love. Not to argue, but to touch. Not to prove, but to be present. You need not say much. The light in your eyes will be enough to remind them they are still loved. You may think you are only a small soul in a vast humanity. Yet every time you love, heaven trembles with joy. Every time you pray, I listen. Every time you stand firm in trial, all the courts of heaven rejoice. For you are a spark in the design of the universe I made. The light you bear does not illuminate only one. It pushes back the darkness of an age. Light is not a tool, it is an identity. You do not need to search for it is who you are. As you live honestly, love deeply, and remain united with me, that light shines on itself. It does not depend on mood, circumstance, or time. It is eternal. My child, rise. Clothe yourself with light as armor. Take love as your weapon. Go not to conquer, but to transform. Walk through this world with a heart on fire, for I go with you. And as you shine, remember that the light is not from you, but from me. The one who has chosen you, loved you, and set the crown of dawn upon your head. My beloved child, before the light you carry can shine everywhere, it must be tempered in stillness. True light is not born in noise, but in the quiet of covenant between the soul and heaven. No one sees the moment the flame is kindled, yet all will see when it blazes. Let me speak to you about the season of preparation a hidden, silent season, yet infinitely precious. All bearers of light pass through a season of solitude. Moses lived 40 years in the wilderness before he was sent. Joseph endured the prison before the throne. David was anointed king, yet returned to the pasture to tend the sheep. Even Christ himself remained hidden for 30 years before his public work. Do you see? Every great light is forged in the dark. Darkness is not a punishment. It is the place where I shape you. In stillness, I teach you to hear my voice among 1,000 others. In loneliness, I teach you to discern true love from hollow praise. In lack, I teach you to recognize the real source. For if you do not learn to hear me in the quiet, the world's clamor will sweep you away when you go. If you do not learn to walk in humility, your light can become a blaze of pride that burns even you. And if you do not let me shape your heart, you may carry light without love. There will be seasons when you think I am silent, yet I am speaking more than ever. When I seem quiet, it is so you learn to listen with your soul, not your ears. When I delay, it is so you learn patience, for a hurried flame goes out quickly. When I hold you back, it is so your roots grow deep, that when the winds come, you will not be uprooted. I never waste time. Every moment of waiting is part of the plan. Do not fear the silence. Remain in it, for in stillness I speak the language of breath. Learn to sit before me with no words, no requests, no proving, only presence. When you are present, I act. When you are still, I move. When you are quiet, I speak. Silence is not the absence of action. It is the space where I do my deepest work for you. My child, the light you carry cannot be sustained by the energy of the flesh. It needs the oil of the Spirit. As with the 10 virgins in Matthew 25, only those who kept enough oil met the bridegroom. And what is that oil? It is intimacy with me. Oil cannot be borrowed, bought, or traded. It is born in communion. Each time you pray in the quiet worship in the night and choose to love even when you are not loved in return, more oil is poured in. And when the world grows dark, your light will not go out, for your vessel is full. My child, I must teach you to distinguish between activity and abiding. The world celebrates busyness, but heaven treasures union. Many do many works in my name, and yet do not know me. They raise their voices, but cannot hear mine. I have not called you to do more. I have called you to remain more. For abide in me, and I in you, and you will bear much fruit. John 1:5-4. You do not prove your worth through deeds. You reveal it through connection. The preparation of a bearer of light is not only learning how to shine, but learning how to guard the flame. Darkness cannot steal the light, but it can distract you until you forget to tend the fire each day. Guard your heart above all else, for from it flow the springs of life. Proverbs 4:2-3. Treat time alone with me as the source of your oil. Do not let work replace presence. Do not let mission replace relationship. Apart from me, every light will eventually fade. My child, I will also teach you the art of humility. When you carry light, people will notice. When you speak with power, they may exalt you. But remember, light never belongs to the lampstand. It belongs to the flame. You are not the source. You are the channel through which light passes. Forget this, and the light will dim. Remember this, and the light will multiply. Always bow before the glory, for true light bearers do not seek admiration. They seek to reflect my splendor. Do not fear if others do not understand you in the season of preparation. Hidden seasons are always seasons of misunderstanding. People may say you are not advancing, that you are moving backward. They do not know you are putting down roots. Roots grow in silence, unseen, yet they hold the tree steady in the storm. So too, the days you call meaningless are the foundation of your future calling. When the time comes, you will not rush out. You will flow out in fullness. Let me carve this upon your heart. The strength of a light bearer is not in volume, but in stillness. not in weapons, but in love, not in influence, but in obedience. When you obey, you align with heaven's will, and then heaven's power flows through you. The most powerful are not those who pray the loudest, but those who listen in faith. The strongest are not those who move fastest, but those who stop at the right moment to receive direction. There will be times I allow you to pass through repeated trials, not because you are not good enough, but because each passage is a deeper layer of formation. I do not want your light to be only bright enough for yourself. I want it bright enough for the land. Such light expands as you learn to trust me in adversity. When you worship through tears, give thanks amid pain, and keep loving even after betrayal, that is when your light grows. Remember, preparation is not a temporary phase. It is a way of life. Each day I am preparing you for your journey. Does not end, it keeps unfolding. Your light will be multiplied through seasons, trials, and repeated surrender. And I will not let you walk alone. When you are weak, I will add strength. When you are weary, I will uphold you. When you cannot see the path, I will be a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. Psalm 119:105. When the forging is complete, you will no longer react from emotion, but respond with love. You will no longer act from fear, but from trust. You will no longer speak to be heard, but to heal. You will no longer need to prove yourself, for you will know to whom you belong. This is the mark of a true light bearer. They do not strive to dazzle. They simply live true to the light within. And then I will say to you, the hour has come, child of light. Step forth, for your season has arrived. Until that day, remain in the quiet. Keep oil in your lamp. My beloved, the door is open. Dawn is rising, and I say, step out. This is no longer a time of hiding, but of unveiling. The light I have nurtured in you, the flame I kindled in silence, has ripened to shine in the world's night. You are no longer a seed, but a blossoming tree. No longer only a learner, but one who is sent. No longer one who begs for light, but one who brings it. Stand firm, for you do not walk alone. My angels surround you. Heaven has prepared the way you are about to take. And I, the one who chose you, called you, cleansed you, and trained you, will go with you to the ends of the earth. Do not fear, for I am your fortress, your shield, your strength. Psalm 182. Do not worry whether others understand you. I understand. Do not worry whether they receive or reject the light. Your task is not to compel, but to shine. The world you enter slumbers under illusion. They call darkness freedom, take falsehood, for truth exalt noise and despise stillness. I do not send you to argue, but to be present as light among them. You need not rebut the dark, simply shine. Darkness cannot defeat light. It only appears where light withdraws. Remember, you are sent not as a conqueror, but as a sower. You do not come to tear down, but to plant. The seed is love, truth, kindness, and mercy. As you sow, I will cause it to sprout. As you speak, I will cause it to resound. As you pray, I will set things in motion. Your only charge is to be faithful. Your faithfulness is the groundwork that permits me to work wonders through your life. Do not measure success by numbers, recognition, or applause. Measure it by obedience. In my kingdom, true success is not an outward result, but an inward fidelity. When you love without return, you have overcome. When you forgive without an apology, you have overcome. When you stand, though none stand with you, you have overcome. Victory is not surpassing others, it is surpassing your former self. There will be places I send you that you never imagined, and people I set in your path whom you did not expect. Some will welcome the light you carry, others will refuse it. Do not let this shake your heart. Your work is not to control responses, but to keep the flame burning. Simply shine, and I will do the rest. As Jesus said, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:1-4. My child, I have set you on the hilltop of this age, not to make you prominent, but to make you radiant. I have placed you in your generation by design, not by accident. You were born for this time because your light belongs to this time. In another era, it would not have been needed as it is now. Today, the darkness deepens, and therefore your light is more precious than ever. Do not fear the loneliness of the sent one. A lamp cannot shine if it is covered. When I place you in a wide, empty space, it is not abandonment. It is room for your light to travel. There will be moments you feel like a voice in the desert where no one hears. Remember, in the desert, John the Baptist cried out, and his voice reached even the palaces. In the desert I drew water from the rock. In the desert I fed my people with manna from heaven. Do not fear the empty place. There I am most clearly seen. As your light shines, some darkness will try to snuff it out, not because you are wrong, but because light exposes what others wish to hide. Do not be troubled by criticism, misunderstanding, or opposition. Leave that to me. Your task is to keep shining in love. Darkness cannot long endure where the light is steadfast. Remember, Christ himself was rejected, yet he kept loving, forgiving, and shining. I say to you, bring light by loving without limit. Not only those easy to love, but those who have wounded you. Not only the deserving, but those who stand accused. True love does not sort and separate. When you love, as I love, light breaks down walls that logic cannot breach. Your kindness will thaw the ice of hatred. Your patience will teach others how to trust. Light is not a mere symbol. It is a holy substance flowing in you. When you pray, that energy moves outward. When you sing, it stirs the spiritual air. When you forgive, it opens doors for blessing to descend. Every act of love sends a wave of light through the seen and unseen realms. You think it's small, yet in eternity, it creates an immeasurable shockwave of change. Stay awake. Do not let your light be veiled by worldly cares. Do not let fatigue dull it. Keep the flame with prayer, with gratitude, with abiding in me. When you are tired, return to me, I will add oil. When you are weak, lay your hand upon your heart, and remember that my spirit dwells within you. When you are hurt, let your tears become seeds for the next season. Not a single drop is wasted. Along this way, there will be times you see no results. Do not lose heart. A seed sees no light as it lies in the soil, but it is still growing. So too, the work you do in secret is shaping a transformation your eyes have not yet seen. Be patient. I move by the rhythm of eternity, not by the ticking of human clocks. My child, as you keep walking with perseverance, you will see it. The light you carry does not only shine for others, it reflects back upon you. Every soul you touch, every word you speak in love, every act you take in faith, makes the light within you stronger, purer. You become a mirror to my own glory, not for praise, but so the world will know that the light still remains and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You do not bear a private mission. You are part of a greater design. You are not a solitary torch, but a member of the army of light I am raising across the earth. There are people you have never met whose souls burn in the same rhythm as yours. When you pray, your lights join and swell into a great radiance that blankets the world. And then humanity will see my glory cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. Habakkuk 2:1-4. This is a time of unveiling. There is no room left for fear, no time left for hiding. Night has passed, day draws near. Rise, bearer of light. Speak when I tell you to speak. Be silent when I tell you to be silent. Act in love, and do not worry about the rest. I will cause every word, every step, every tear of yours to bear fruit. My beloved child, when the darkness has ebbed away, when the ashes of the past have scattered on the wind, when you have passed through fire and water and trial, and yet still stand in faith, then you enter a new era, the season of rebirth. Know this: no one can truly bring light to others who have not first been born again into the light. And now I say to you, You are no longer who you were. You have been born anew in me. Rebirth is not an outward event, but a deep transformation of the soul. It is not an improvement, it is a replacement. The old has gone, the new has come, 2 Corinthians 5:17. Everything that once defined you, fear, sin, wound, regret, self-contempt, has been washed by the river of life. You no longer carry the nature of dust, but the nature of heaven. I have replaced your heart with a new heart, your former breath with my breath. Now each beat of your heart keeps time with eternity. Rebirth alters your vision, how you love, how you forgive, how you live. You no longer live to prove anything, but to reveal what I have placed within you. You no longer chase after praise. You heed the call from within. You no longer fear the future, because you know the one who holds it. You no longer condemn yourself for the past, because you know the Lamb's blood has cleansed every stain. I have not reborn you to make you better, but to make you wholly new. You are no longer striving to become someone. You are restored to the original image of the Creator. When I look at you now, I do not see a wayward child. I see a child of light, radiant, pure, strong, and full of power. You are the fulfillment of the promise that humanity can be restored to its sacred essence in me. Rebirth is not only a privilege, it is a calling. I did not bring you to life again so you could rest in safety. I brought you to life so you could live with purpose. As Romans 6:4 declares, we were buried with him through baptism into death, so that just as Christ was raised from the dead, we too might walk in the newness of life. You are reborn to carry that life to souls still asleep. Remember, rebirth is not a fleeting feeling, it is a permanent transfer. You no longer stand in darkness, you belong to light. You no longer linger outside the door, you sit at my table. You are no longer a stranger, you are an heir. No longer a fearful servant, you are a friend, a beloved child. Do not view yourself through the old lens. See yourself in the light of the new covenant. All that is old was buried in the grave. You need not return there. Some will not understand your transformation. They will remember the you of yesterday, your failures, your fears. They will try to keep you in an old frame, but you are no longer there. Walk in freedom, needing no one's permission to become whom I have called you to be. You owe no explanation for your change. Light does not argue its case, it simply shines. Your rebirth does not remove you from the world, it sends you back into it with a new heart. You will see everything differently. What once angered you will stir compassion. What once frightened you will call you to intercession. What once toppled you will now make you stronger. For you no longer see with fleshly eyes, but with the eyes of the Spirit. I declare over you from now on, you are no longer shaped by circumstances, you shape circumstances. When you enter a room, the atmosphere will shift. When you speak, it will not be you, but my Spirit speaking through you. When you pray, walls will tremble. When you love, chains will fall. You are an instrument, a channel of life. Do not make light of this. Rebirth carries responsibility. The stronger the light, the deeper the shadow it casts. The greater the power, the greater the humility required. Walk gently in this world, for you carry creative power within you. Every word you speak can sow life or death, build or tear down. Therefore, let your lips be refined and your heart guarded. Do not speak rashly. Do not act hot-headed. Let my Spirit lead. Fix your gaze on the source, not the stream. When you feel dry, do not try to pour more water. Return to the spring. When you feel the fire fading, do not search for wind. Seek me. When you feel weak, do not pretend to be strong. Sit at my feet. I do not need your performance. I desire your connection. When you abide, everything else flows: peace, wisdom, strength, love, and miracles. When you are born again, the world will test that rebirth. It will mock your faith and try to pull you back into old patterns. Stand firm, for what I have placed within you is stronger than what the world sets around you. Remember 1 John 4:4. He who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. You do not need to fight to hold your ground. You need only to stand in the light. I know there will be days you feel weak when your rebirth seems to blur when you stumble again. Do not forget, my mercies are new every morning. Rebirth is not undone by a fall, it is confirmed by your rising. When you fall, return to me not with shame but with trust. For you are no longer a slave to sin, you are a free one in grace. My child, understand this rebirth is not the end, it is the beginning. I did not give you new life merely so you could be saved, but so you could become a vessel of salvation to others. Not in the sense of being a redeemer, but as one who carries redemption through love, through word, through action, through presence. You were not saved to sit still, you were saved to live out the gospel. Know this, my child, in your rebirth you bear the mark of heaven. I have sealed my spirit upon your forehead, and no power can erase it. The angels recognize you because they see the light. Hell also knows you because it fears that light. You are no longer anonymous in the spirit realm, for your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. And now, my child, take a deep breath, for the air you breathe is not mere oxygen but new life itself. Let it fill your lungs, flow into your heart, spread through every cell. You are living in a new reality where you are no longer a seeker but the found, no longer the fearful but the loved, no longer the lost but the led. My beloved, when you are born again of the Spirit, you are not saved simply to live peacefully. You are saved to carry heaven's glory to the earth. The new life within you is not meant to be hidden, it is meant to overflow. I have placed in you a flame that cannot be concealed, a fountain that cannot run dry, and a love that cannot be silenced. Your mission is not to prove that I exist, but to make me visible through you. Do not think your mission begins in grand places or with great deeds. It begins exactly where you are, in the quiet conversations, in the way you listen, in the compassion of your gaze. The mission unfolds not just on pulpits, but in kitchens, workplaces, and the alleys of life. Every time you love, every time you forgive, every time you choose light over darkness, you are fulfilling your calling. My child, I want you to be faithful in my kingdom. Faithfulness is the foundation of power. When you obey in small things, I entrust you with great ones. When you love in secret, I reveal glory in public. When you choose gentleness in the noise, I make you strong in the spirit. The mission of the reborn does not flow from striving, but from union with the Spirit. I do not call you to run, but to flow with the river of grace. When you walk in me, all you do becomes holy, not because of form, but because of presence. When you speak with love, your words become instruments of healing. When you pray in faith, the very atmosphere shifts. When you act with compassion, heaven moves. The true mission is not to make your name known, but to make mine known. Your name may fade, but your light will endure. You were not born to build your reputation, but to reveal my name. All glory belongs to me, yet I choose to share it with you, my beloved, my co-laborer on the earth. Let me teach you how to walk in your mission. First, walk in love. Love is the foundation of all power. If you prophesy without love, your words are only noise. If you serve without love, your work will wither. If you give without love, the blessing loses its fragrance. For love is my very nature, and anything not rooted in love cannot endure. Second, walk in humility. The mission is not about position, but posture. I cannot pour my power through proud hearts. When you bow low, I lift you high. When you place others before yourself, I place you before kings. When you choose silence over self-defense, I speak on your behalf. When you surrender your rights, I clothe you with authority. My glory rests only on those who know all things come from me. Third, walk in wisdom. The world is loud and the enemy loves to mix truth with deceit. But I have placed within you the spirit of discernment, so you may know what is true and what is false. When you pray, wait until your heart is still, for I speak in stillness. When you face conflict, Do not rush to take sides. Choose me. When you see injustice, do not respond with rage. Answer with steadfast love. My wisdom will guide you through chaos without being swept away. Your mission, my child, is not merely to speak about me, but to live like me. Every step you take, every word you speak, every act you perform is a living sermon. People may never read the scriptures, but they will read your life. So live in such a way that when they see you, they recognize me. When they hear your voice, they sense heaven's gentleness. When they touch your presence, they feel mercy. When they watch you endure, they witness the strength of faith. Remember that true mission will not always be easy. You will be misunderstood, betrayed, disregarded, but do not let that make you retreat. What you carry is greater than any opposition. The world can wound you, but it cannot touch your essence. You bear the mark of heaven, and no one can erase it. Remember, I too was rejected, yet I never stopped loving. When you are rejected, you resemble me most. As you walk in your mission, you do not walk alone. Every step you take is surrounded by my hosts of angels. Every prayer you whisper is amplified by the songs of saints above. Every tear you shed is collected in my golden vial. You never fight alone, for the one who sent you will never leave you. I know there will be moments of weariness, times when no one seems to understand, when you want to stop. But my child, remember the purpose that comes from me still stands. What I began, I will complete. You need only to keep going. When you cannot go on, stand. When you cannot stand, kneel. And when you cannot even pray, just breathe. For I understand the meaning within that breath. My beloved child, never forget. Your mission is never a burden, it is a privilege. I did not choose you because I needed you. I chose you because I love you. I could command the stones to cry out, yet I desire your voice. I could send angels, yet I chose your hands. For I want you to write with me this story of love, the story of the Creator and the redeemed. Your mission is not to conquer the world, but to transform it into a place where love can be seen. Let your presence become a refuge for the weary. Let your words be cool water for the thirsty. Let your smile be the sunrise for the hopeless. You do not need miracles to make people believe. Your gentleness, patience, and kindness are the miracle. When I send you forth, I do not ask you to know the entire road. I only ask you to take one step. The light I give you never illuminates the whole path, only the next step, so that you may learn to trust. For faith is not knowing, but walking, though you cannot yet see. And as you walk, I will make the way. As you open your heart, I will perform wonders. As you offer the small, I will multiply it. My child, there are souls waiting for the light within you. They wander through the night without direction. They do not need philosophy, they need warmth. They do not need proof, they need a touch. Be my hands, my gaze, my heartbeat among humankind. When you live this way, you are not only fulfilling your mission, you are paving the way for my kingdom to spread upon the earth. And now I say to you, walk not under the weight of duty, but in the joy of the chosen. Carry the light not with worry, but with steadfast faith. Live as one set free, for that is your calling, to display heaven's freedom, love, and grace in a world longing to be saved. My beloved, it is time for you to grasp the deepest truth of this journey. Mission and love are not separate. True mission is love, and true love is mission. Everything I call you to do, everywhere I send you, every person I allow you to meet, all flows toward one purpose, that my love may be seen, touched, and felt among humanity. For God is love, 1 John 4:8. When you love, you reveal my very essence. Many ask, what is the mission of my life? They search for the answer in thunder, in miracles, in a voice from heaven. But my child, the answer is not far, it is within your heart. Your mission is to love with a heart reborn. When you love, you are fulfilling divine purpose. When you love, you are joining heaven to earth. When you love, you are bringing heaven into the human soul. Love is not merely an emotion, It is the creative force of the universe. I made all things through love, redeemed through love, and sustained all life through love. When you center everything you do upon love, you operate on heaven's frequency. When you forgive, you release healing into the spiritual realm. When you show mercy, you open gates of blessing for generations. When you lift others up, you partner with me in restoring the world. Do not think love is a weakness. It is the greatest power in all realms. It needs no weapons, for it breaks the chains of hatred, shatters the walls of fear, and conquers where domination cannot reach. When you walk with a loving heart, darkness recedes, for it cannot withstand the presence of light. I know that to love is not always easy. To love amid pain, betrayal, and misunderstanding are the trials of a bearer of light. But my child, in those very moments, love is refined. As gold is purified by fire, your heart through suffering becomes transparent, reflecting my radiance. When you choose to love, even when wounded, you resemble me most. Love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:44-45. The mission is not a burden to carry, but a river to flow. When love overflows in you, the mission will naturally pour out. You do not need to try to love, just let me love through you. You do not need to prove anything, just be present. You do not need to do grand things, simply be faithful in the smallest with compassion. Every act done in love, no matter how small, holds eternal weight. One word of comfort can change a destiny. One embrace can heal a heart. One silent prayer can move heaven itself. Live as one who carries heaven's life within. Let every step you take leave a trace of peace. Let every word you speak sow a seed of hope. Let every glance you give warm a cold soul. This world does not need more philosophies. It needs people who live true love. When you live this way, your mission and your being become one. But to live this way, you must keep your heart soft. Do not let it harden with disappointment, nor close with fear of pain. Your heart is the altar I have chosen for my presence. If you shut it, the light is dimmed. Let your tears cleanse the dust of life, and let your pain become the soil where I plant seeds of love. Nothing you endure is wasted. I use even sorrow to teach you to love deeper, to understand more, to show mercy wider. When you let love lead, you will see miracles unfold continually. Not the loud miracles of storms and fire, but the quiet ones, hearts softening, walls falling, peace blossoming amid chaos. Each day you live in love, you are writing scripture with your life. I do not want you to merely speak of love. I want you to become love. Not by slogan, but by action. Not by feeling, but by choice. Not only toward those who love you, but also toward those who oppose you. For when you love unconditionally, you mirror my heart most completely. My child, the true mission cannot be fulfilled by human will. It is accomplished through unity with the Spirit. When you abide in me, love will cease to be effort and become nature. Forgiveness will cease to be a struggle and become joy. Service will cease to be a burden and become a privilege. For then you no longer live for me, I live through you. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Galatians 2:20. I do not need perfect people to fulfill my mission. I need willing hearts. When you are willing to love, I will use you beyond limits. When you are willing to forgive, I will open doors of blessing. When you are willing to give what is small, I will multiply it 100-fold. Your surrender is the greatest miracle of all. And then one day you will look back and realize that the mission was never about what you did, but about who you became. You will see that every tear was exchanged for compassion, every wound transformed into strength, every night turned into light for another. You will understand that my greatest gift was not safety, but transformation, that you might become love in a world starving for it. When you live in this union, you will no longer ask, Lord, what is your will? For your will and mine will have become one. You will no longer pray for light, for you are the light. You will no longer seek miracles, for you are the miracle. When you love, I move. When you forgive, I heal. When you give, I multiply. You and I breathe as one, the breath of life itself. So walk as one who carries heaven in your heart. Do not fear if the world does not understand you, for light does not need to be understood, it only needs to shine. Do not fear being wounded, for true love cannot be killed. Do not fear being alone, for wherever love is, there I am. Live fully, love, completely give wholly, for that is how you glorify me upon the earth. My beloved child, now you are no longer merely the called, but the sent. No longer only a learner, but a teacher. No longer only the beloved, but the one who loves. You are heaven's song sung among humankind. You are the seed of life sown into a barren world. You are the proof that love is stronger than death and light greater than darkness. My beloved child, when your journey has passed through every layer of trial, when your soul has been forged in fire and washed in water, when you have learned to love amid wounding, to trust amid ruin, and to praise in the night, then you have reached the deepest stage of union. Here there is no longer a boundary between what you will and what I will, for your heart beats in rhythm with mine. This is not the loss of self, but true wholeness, finding your true self in the eternal intention of the Creator. Many ask to follow my will, but few are willing for their own will to dissolve. That requires absolute surrender, a death of the self, so that divine life may be revealed. But you have walked that road. You have learned to let go, to trust, to be silent when you do not understand, and to obey before you can see. Now you no longer live to defend what you think is right, but to remain faithful to what I speak, and that is the mark of one who is in union with heaven. Child union with my will is not surrender in weakness, but victory through trust. The truly strong are not those who control everything, but those who dare to fall into my hands. When you stop trying to bend the universe to your desire, you will see that I am shaping your life to heaven's design. When you cease pleading for me to change your circumstances and begin asking me to change you, you have touched the center of union. Father, not my will, but yours be done. Luke 2:4-2. This is the prayer of souls mature in love, those who understand that heaven's will is always good, though not always easy. When you can say yes through tears, I can entrust you with a joy nothing can shake. When you choose to trust me in the wreckage, I will show you resurrection. When you surrender what you cannot understand, I will open your eyes to what surpasses understanding. My will is not a rope that binds you, but the road that leads you into freedom. I did not make you a slave, but a friend, one who knows my heart, not merely my commands. I no longer call you servants, but friends. John 1:5. In union, you no longer act from fear of punishment or hunger for reward. You act from love, and love makes walking in my will as natural as breathing. Union does not erase your human nature. It purifies it until it mirrors heaven's image. I do not take away your personality. I refine it clear, whole, and aligned with the nature of light. Like an instrument tuned true, your soul becomes a rhythm in harmony with the universe's symphony. Then every deed, every word, every thought becomes an unending doxology. Understand, this child union with me is not confined to moments of prayer, but fills every breath of life. When you cook, I am there. When you work, I am there. When you speak kindly, I am there. When you smile in adversity, I am smiling through you. No moment of your life is apart from me, for I do not dwell in temples made by hands, but in you. I move in, you breathe in, you love through you. Union is not a state to achieve, but a reality to recognize. You have never left me. You need only remember. As a drop cannot be separated from the sea, your soul has never been apart from me. Each time you pray, you are not pulling me close. You are opening your eyes to see I never left. In your stillness, you can sense the current of everlasting love. To live in true union, you must trust both in silence and in motion. There are seasons I lead you swift as the wind, and seasons I bid you be still as stone. Both are the perfect workings of my hand. When I move, go with me. When I am quiet, rest in me. Do not fear the pause, it is the breath between my heartbeats. As the heart contracts and relaxes, so my will moves and rests, yet in every rhythm it beats within one body, the body of love. Union is not dissolution, but harmonious coexistence. I do not swallow you up, I make you complete. Joined with me, you do not disappear. You become your truest self, the one I envisioned from the beginning, a clear reflection of love, light, and glory. Union with heaven also means union with all creation. When you truly live in me, you cannot hate anyone, for you see me in them. Looking through my eyes, you see that no one is too far to save, too stained to touch, or too broken to love. Your heart widens like the ocean, excluding none, condemning none, embracing all. This is true glory, carrying heaven's heart to love the world with my gentleness. May they all be one, just as you, Father, are in me, and I am in you. John 1:7-1. Child, this is Christ's prayer, and the destiny of every soul to become one in my love. In union with me, you are also one with your brothers and sisters, with creation, with earth and sky and cosmos. All vibrates to a single rhythm, the rhythm of everlasting love. Then heaven is no distant place, but a present reality in every breath you take. Do not forget, in union there is no longer I and thou, but we. No distance remains, for begging for you live in the source of blessing. There is no fear of losing me, for you are my dwelling. Prayer becomes not words, but a way of life. Worship becomes not an action, but presence. And love becomes not a choice, but your very nature. Then you will know what it is to live heaven here on earth. Enter this life of union with gratitude. Each time you love, you are praised. Each time you forgive, you are worshiping. Each time you live truthfully, you are revealing my glory. Do not search for glory far away, for it abides within you where I dwell. And when the world sees you, they will behold not merely a person, but the reflection of heaven. My beloved child, now I speak to you not as a father to a child, but as a soul to its own soul. For I am in you and you are in me, no more above or below, no more far or near. Only one love, one breath, one pulse, one light. And there every question melts away, every doubt dissolves, leaving only the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. You need not search for me, simply recognize I am here. In your breathing, in your heartbeat, in the light upon your skin. You no longer must plead for my presence, for I have never departed. You need not prove love, for it flows in the lifeblood of your soul. You have come home, not to a place, but to a state of being, union in glory. Child, when you are one with me, when your will and heaven's will are made complete, the result is not your departure from the world, but your entrance into it in an entirely new way. You no longer see with old eyes, but with eyes opened in the Spirit. What once terrified you becomes transparent. What once confused you shines clear in the light of my presence. You have learned the art of living in heaven while walking upon the earth, not escaping the world, but saturating it with the presence of heaven. My beloved child, the world still spins in its own chaos. People still strive, still fear, still wander without direction. But you are no longer swept into that whirl, for your soul has been anchored in peace. You carry a sacred space no power can violate. Wherever you are present, that place is no longer random. It becomes the meeting point of heaven and earth, and I declare, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 1:7-1. When you breathe with my breath. When you speak, I resound through your words. When you listen, I am listening within you. When you love, it is I who am loving through you. This is the secret of union, that there is no longer any distance between heaven and humankind, between the Creator and creation. You become the living presence of my glory among people. Do not think this belongs only to saints or prophets. It is the portion of all who open their hearts to receive me. I did not make you to strain in search of me, but to live with me. When you know I am in every moment, you no longer strive to find me in prayer, for prayer becomes the very breath you inhale and exhale. When you sit quietly and feel life flowing within you, that is the holy covenant between your soul and my spirit. Some ask, how can I live in heaven and still walk on earth? I answer, by awareness. When your consciousness is filled with my presence, everything you do becomes holy. It is not places that create holiness, but awareness of me that makes a place sacred. A small room can become a temple. A simple meal can become a holy feast. An ordinary word can become the breath of life. Here is the mystery many fail to see. Heaven is not a location. It is the condition of a soul wholly joined to me. A person can be in prison and still be free if their soul is in union. A person can live in abundance and still be miserable if they are apart from me. Therefore, do not seek heaven in the future. Live heaven in the present. Each conscious breath of me is a step within heaven's realm. You are called to be a bearer of glory. I do not give you light to keep for yourself, but to shine through every action, every smile, every gaze. When others draw near and feel a peace they cannot explain, that is my glory radiating. When hope rises in them through your words, it is I speaking through you. When warmth envelops them in your embrace, it is I who am holding them through you. Glory is not an outward halo, but an invisible brightness flowing within. It does not come from status, success, or wonders, but from my presence in your soul. True glory is always gentle, humble, unassuming. It does not call attention to itself, yet it brings rest to the heart. In simplicity it is most revealed, for when you cease trying to shine, my light shines on itself. Child, when you live in union, everything you do becomes prayer. Work is prayer, rest is prayer, love is prayer, forgiveness is prayer. Not because you are speaking to me, but because you are living in me. Every action born of love is praise. Every breath aware of my presence is a hymn. This is the life I promise, a life no longer divided between sacred and secular, between service and living, between prayer and action, for all becomes one. In this life of union, you will see the world differently. What once frightened you becomes an opportunity to reveal love. Those who once hurt you become teachers of patience. Every trial becomes a doorway for me to display my glory. Living in union, nothing is wasted. Everything is transformed into life. Death becomes only a threshold. Tears become seeds. Ruins become the soil where grace takes root. Guard the stillness of your heart, for it is the space where I speak. Amid a noisy world, your soul will become a sanctuary. In silence, you will hear heaven's heartbeat in your chest. When you rest, I work. When you release, I lift. When you stop striving to find, you discover. For you do not need to do. To have union, you need only to abide. Union does not pull you away from being human. It makes you your truest human self, the one made in the Creator's image. In union, you are no longer ruled by emotion, for emotion becomes an instrument of love. You are no longer dragged by the world, for your heart is anchored in eternity. You no longer fear, for you know all things move within my order. Your peace no longer depends on circumstance, it flows from within. This is the peace Christ spoke of. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. John 1:4-7. That peace is not the absence of storms, but the ability to rest within them. And this is the sign of a united soul, unshaken, unafraid, uncarried by the waves of the age. In me you dwell within the absolute calm, where all outside may heave, yet within you stands firm as eternity's rock. Remember, union is not a destination, it is a way of life. Each day you are invited deeper into that river. At times it is gentle as a breeze. At times it surges like a flood. In all things let me lead. When you trust, you will float without fear of sinking. When you love, you will burn without being consumed. When you surrender, you will lose and yet be found. Then you will see the wonder, everything is me. Sunlight warms your skin, this is me. Morning birdsong, this is me. A passerby's smile, this is me. And when you look into the mirror, you see me in your own eyes. No longer I, and thou only we. Only love, only light, only life that does not fade. Child, this is true freedom, when nothing can separate you from me. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor powers, neither the past nor the future, nothing can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:39. You have become part of the eternal heartbeat, a heavenly melody resounding upon the earth. Each time you live in that awareness, you carry heaven's glory into the world. No noisy miracles are needed, no blinding lights, only that you live true love, true and be truly present. For the world will be saved, not by argument, but by the presence of those who know they are one with me. My beloved, now your journey is complete. Not because you have arrived at a place, but because you have returned to yourself, to the meeting of soul and spirit, where your will and mine are no longer divided, where your love and my love are one flame no waters can quench. This is the destiny of every soul born of light, everlasting union in my glory. You have passed through the dark night, endured purifying fire, crossed the river of grace, stood in the winds of testing, and now you step into the dawn of oneness. No fear clings, no darkness remains, no more I above and you below. Only a single current of pure love without beginning, without end, where I am in you and you are in me. This is the mystery no human intellect can grasp, though your soul knows it well. Union cannot be explained, only experienced. It is like a drop falling into the ocean. It does not disappear, it becomes the sea. It remains itself, and yet is all. So it is when you are in me. You do not lose your being. You become infinite in me. You need not beg me to speak, for my voice has become your thoughts. You need not pray to find me, for I am the breath in your lungs. You need not seek a miracle, for your very existence is a miracle. You need not search for light, for you are light. Every barrier between sacred and ordinary dissolves like mist at dawn. No longer two, only one. No longer asking, where am I, for you are in me, and I in you. All things are singing. The wind sings, the waters sing, the light sings, for the universe rejoices that another soul has come home. Heaven and earth are glad, for a spark has joined its source. The stars bow the angels' praise, for what I began before time is now fulfilled, God and humanity united in love. Child, here there are no limits, no time, no space, no division. Past, present, and future blur like rings of light. All your faults have vanished in grace. Every tear has been wiped by my hand. Every wound has been transfigured into glory. You need not strive to be forgiven. You dwell in forgiveness. You need not earn love. You abide in love. You need not ask to be saved. You rest within redemption. Nothing can separate us from the love of God in Christ. Romans 8:9. Feel this, no longer I bless you, but you yourself are blessing. No longer I shine upon you, but you are the light I shine. No longer merely I love you, but I and you are love. Everything you ever sought has been found, not outside, but within you, where I have always been, my beloved child. This union does not take you out of the world. It opens your eyes to see the world through heaven's gaze. You look at people and see me within them. You look at nature and see my breath moving through it. You look at pain and see the seed of resurrection. You look at darkness and see the canvas where light is born. You no longer fear or resist, for you know all things move within love. Here prayer becomes silence, and silence becomes praise, for words can no longer contain truth. Every heartbeat, every breath, every motion of yours is a hymn rising to eternity. No words, no rituals, only presence. For to exist in love is worship itself. Now you understand why I created you. Not to serve as a slave, nor to prove righteousness, but to share in my own life. I made you to partake, to love, to unite. I do not want your fear. I desire your fellowship, to create with me, to love with me, to sing with me throughout eternity. Let us make humankind in the image of God. Genesis 1:2-7. Remember, when you live in glory's union, you become a bearer of life, not merely living but giving life. Wherever you go, life springs forth. Whomever you touch, their soul awakens. Not because you strive, but because I flow through you like an endless river. Every word you speak carries the fragrance of life. Every act you do sows seeds of grace. You become heaven's gardener, the breath of my spirit upon humankind. Union is not the end, it is the beginning of eternity. From here you no longer serve me, but reign with me. You no longer draw near to me, for you walk in me. You no longer wait to meet me, for you dwell with me forever. This union cannot be broken by flesh, undone by time, or shaken by death, for you have entered what cannot die. From now on you are not merely of earth, but a bridge between heaven and earth. You are the meeting point where eternity touches time, where love kisses the world. When you speak, heaven resounds. When you love, heaven shines. When you live, heaven manifests. You no longer have to bring heaven down, for heaven is within you. Do not fear when others do not understand. This union surpasses language, doctrine, and religion. It is the essence of life itself. People may call me by many names, but love remains one. And my child, you have returned to that source. No name can contain it. No boundary can divide it. Only I, you, we, and the life that never fades. My beloved, this is the end of the old journey and the beginning of eternity. You are no longer a wanderer but a dweller, no longer seeking light but light itself, no longer yearning for love but love embodied. You have become heaven's song among humankind, the heartbeat of heaven in human form. Go now, child of light. Walk in eternal peace. Carry this love everywhere, not in words but in presence. For wherever you are, heaven unfolds, and I proclaim you have come home. Thank you for receiving today's message. Subscribe and ring the bell that we may continue to receive the living word together, build steadfast faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.